Before we dive into this topic, we need to acknowledge how did Planned Parenthood start? Who is Margaret Sanger, the founder of Planned Parenthood?
The patron saint of feminism. She's the founder of Planned Parenthood. Her name is Margaret Sanger.
She had a wicked agenda.
I think the greatest sin in the world is bringing children into the world.
Ideas have consequences.
She wrote what her plans were, so much so that she impressed Adolf Hitler. How do you impress Hitler?
Sanger was very clear about the goals of Planned Parenthood.
To create a race of thoroughbreds.
Trigger warning for those who already view abortions as horrific. You don't want to see the following, so click away now. My reason for making this video is Proverbs 31:8. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. And frankly, I do not wish the horrors that these babies go through upon anyone, not even my worst enemy. I'm not here to debate when life begins, or whether to call unborn children babies or fetuses. Fetus is just a Latin word for offspring, and it's used by people who want to dehumanize this group of children and emotionally distance themselves. It's a scientific fact that we are created in the moment of conception. Our unique DNA is formed, and it has everything that we need in it. Our eye color, our hair color, everything about us is in it. And from that moment onwards, we start to grow. We also grow outside the womb, but being less developed or smaller doesn't take away the value of human life or that we are human beings. So now that we can agree that a child in the womb is a human being from the moment of conception, we should acknowledge that a human being deserves the right to life. Just because a baby is in the womb and cannot survive without its mother doesn't make them less valuable. Babies can't even survive outside the womb without a caretaker, but they aren't called parasites. So that's really not a good enough reason for an abortion. I want you to see these images that women posted of their beautiful babies that were only 12 to 14 weeks at a time. Even kids recognize these are babies. Anyone with eyes knows these are human beings. Thinking unborn babies aren't human isn't really even the reason behind being pro-abortion. People, in fact, just do not seem to care that they are human. Ultimately, it comes down to this one argument. A baby's mother gets to choose whether they live or die because their tiny body is inside their mother's body. However, the baby did not have anything to do with that situation. The baby did not choose to be in their mother's womb. So why would they have to die and suffer over something that is not their fault and isn't even life-threatening to the mother? And I am not talking about those cases where the mother's life is threatened. I'm talking about normal pregnancies where the mother can just give birth and go on with her life. If they do not want the child, adoption is an option. And in fact, there are more families waiting to adopt than there are children. And the argument about the child's future life being bad is not really a good one because we don't see the future. And plenty of adopted children go on to live wonderful lives. Ultimately, whether they live or die shouldn't be for us to decide. Otherwise, we could just go around killing absolutely anyone we think might have a bad future ahead of them. Sadly, in most of the cases, these mothers choose to be intimate, but they do not want to be held accountable for their actions. It's simple. Do not be intimate if you do not want children. If you are being intimate, you need to acknowledge you're taking a risk that you might get pregnant. Yes, there are still situations where the mother did not agree to it. Those moms especially need lots of love and compassion and understanding and help. And there are resources like that available. And my sympathies go to all who ever have to suffer and go through something like that. But just imagine if instead of putting money into Planned Parenthood, we could put this money towards these organizations who actually help pregnant women, help women who choose to keep their children instead of aborting them. And also, even in the case of abuse, the child still does remain innocent. Just as the mother is innocent, so is the child. And one evil deed won't take away the other one. And in fact, abortions have often even affected the mothers negatively. And some women give their testimonies how keeping their child that was conceived through abuse, they found it comforting having that child. It's one of those situations where God brings something good out of evil, out of an evil situation, like bringing out something beautiful out of ashes. So, a human life deserves a right to life. When we start bending that rule, innocent people suffer. Dehumanizing a group of people has always been the wrong move in the past, and so it is today. You will fall under one of these 3 categories. Number 1, if you think abortion is okay until birth or until baby is developed enough to feel pain. That means you're okay with murder and causing suffering when it is convenient for you. We can never agree, and I urge you to watch a movie called Unplanned, or watch real videos and images and testimonies where a baby is pulled limb by limb out of their mother's womb. That's absolute torture, and I wouldn't wish that upon anyone, not even my worst enemy, let alone an innocent baby. And you know, the youngest baby to survive was only 21 weeks at birth. There are abortions happening where babies are being pulled out, their limbs severed, and they're still alive and left to die. Even a case where the baby was drowned in a bucket afterwards.
Dr. Levatino is a board-certified obstetrician gynecologist.
Second trimester D&E abortions performed between roughly 14 and 24 weeks of gestation. A D&E procedure is a blind abortion, so picture yourself introducing this and grabbing anything you can blindly and pull, and I do mean hard, and out pops a leg about that big, which you put down on the table next to you. When you have a day like I had a lot of times, sometimes a little face comes back and stares back at you. Congratulations, you just successfully performed a second trimester D&E abortion. You just affirmed her right to choose. You know, after over 1,200 abortions, first and second trimester up to 24 weeks and all the rest of it, and being very dedicated to it, for the first time in my life, I really looked at that pile of body parts on the side of the table. And I didn't see her wonderful right to choose, and I didn't see all the money I just made. All I could see was somebody's son or daughter.
There's no question about it. That is immoral. And it's shocking we even need to have this discussion. Number 2, if you think abortion should be allowed in a case of abuse and before the baby can feel pain, you're going towards the right direction. I mean, you feel sympathy and you don't wish for anyone to suffer. And there is debate going on when baby can start feeling pain in the womb. Some say it is from 12 weeks onwards, but baby's reflex movements respond to touch already at 7 weeks. Reflexes, however, don't necessarily mean conscious pain, and heartbeat begins at 5 weeks. I, however, cannot agree on taking one's life once it's being created. Killing your baby won't unmother you. It will just make you a parent of a dead child. And number 3, if you fall into the category that abortion is only okay if life is at risk and only one can be saved, then we can finally somewhat agree. Lastly, I want to mention this because it's important and it goes to show abortions have been happening longer than we can even remember. It's a modern way of child sacrifice. And you might have done abortion and not thought of it like that. But watch this video. It's about sacrificing your child in the altar of convenience.
Child sacrifice. Barbaric. Evil. Ancient. Modern. Canaanites sacrificed their infants to Moloch for prosperity. Drums were played loudly to drown out the baby's screams. We still don't hear their screams. We sacrifice to gain favor in the workplace, or for the blessings of money or fame. We sacrifice our babies on the altar of free sex. We don't throw our children into the fire or leave them to freeze to death. We starve our babies. We poison them. We rip off their arms and legs and crush their skulls. We call it choice. We call it empowerment. We celebrate baby murder. We consider it vital to our existence. Innocent human beings are still being sacrificed for the selfish gains of those more powerful. Modern child sacrifice is thriving. We must end it. End abortion.